Welcome to all of you students. Today's lecture is related to using COM component, part 1, relevance to MSc Computer Science, second semester, paper 3, programming in Visual Basic, unit 4. This tutorial prepared by me. I am Suresh Kumar Thakur, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Indira Gandhi Government Arts and Commerce College, Vaishnagar, Bhilai. So let's start today's lecture. Today we are going to discuss about the introductions to ActiveX components, component object model, as known as COM, benefit of component object model, and last one, types of ActiveX component available in Visual Basic. So let's start with introduction to ActiveX component. ActiveX is a software framework created by Microsoft that adopts its earlier component object model, object linking and embedding technologies for content downloaded from our network, particularly from the World Wide Web. Microsoft introduced ActiveX in year of 1996. An ActiveX environment is created by ActiveX component running as independent program that can be executed anywhere over an ActiveX enabled network. Each component is known as a ActiveX control. So let's talk about what is ActiveX. ActiveX is a set of object-oriented programming technologies and tools developed by Microsoft. ActiveX is a Microsoft-created technology that enables different software applications to share information and functionality. ActiveX only works with Microsoft applications like Word, Excel, Internet Explorer, and PowerPoint, and will only work on a computer running the Windows operating system. From the perspective of a client, an ActiveX component is essentially a table of function pointers called a virtual table. A virtual table constitutes an interface for an ActiveX component, and a component can have multiple interfaces for different purpose. What is ActiveX component? An ActiveX object that can be used by other programs is a component. An ActiveX component is a component program object that can be reused by many application programs within a computer or among computers in a network. The idea behind ActiveX is that software applications don't need to be built from scratch. Early on, a Microsoft programmer realized that many of the same functions could be shared among different applications. For example, a spell checker is just as useful in a word processing program like Word as in email applications like Outlook, ActiveX. Instead of writing two separate versions of code for the same spell checker, they created a spell checker object. This object lives on the Windows operating system. When any Windows application needs spell checking functionality, it calls on the spell checker object. ActiveX technology began as object linking embedding. In the early days of Windows, object linking embedding allowed for simple cross-application function like cut and paste. Now next we will move to component object model. Component object model is a simple Microsoft specification method that defines a binary standard for exchanging code between two systems. Component object model provides access to distributed client object services. The component object model is a software architecture that allows applications to be built from binary software components. Object linking enabled service extend various aspects of commonly needed system functionality, including component, document, inter-application, scripting, data transfer, and other software connections. It is a result of the object-oriented technology. It is a specification that is based on a binary standard for use through interfaces, components which are precompiled block of code written for component object model can be reused without any dependency on the language in which they are coded. Component object model is an output of object-oriented technology. It is a specification that is based on a binary standard for use through interfaces, that is, components which are precompiled block of codes. Component object model uses system-level code that is implemented in the form of dynamic link libraries, which are collectively called component object model library. The component object model library consists of several application programming interface functions that are necessary for component object model component to do various tasks. In this slide, benefit of component object model will be shown here. Component based software development. Component object model promotes component based software development. Before component based development came, software programs have been coded using procedural programming, which support linear form of program execution. But the component based program development comes with a number of advantages, such as the ability to use pre-packaged components, code reusability. Standard classes are normally used in the same application but not to be used easily in other applications. But component object model components are designed to separate themselves from single applications and hence can be accessed. Support object-oriented programming. The primary characteristic of object-oriented programming are encapsulation, which allows the implementation details of an object to be hidden, polymorphism, which is the ability to exhibit multiple behaviors, and inheritance, which allows for the reuse of existing classes in order to design new and more specialized classes. Among this, encapsulation is one of the component object model's most important characteristic. Helps to enhance components full in different machines on the network. Component object model helps to access component loaded in different machines on the network. Component object model component can reside anywhere on our computer or another computer to the network. That is, application using component object model can access and share component object model component regards locations. Comprises the necessary mechanism for components to communicate with each other. In the normal case, two components coded using two different programming languages cannot communicate with each other, but component object model can make it possible for different language components. Component object model is really the heart of ActiveX. For example, if you have ever inserted an Excel spreadsheet object into Microsoft Word, you can see that only Word is open. You can still work with the Excel spreadsheet normally. This is referred to as embedding. One type of documents or application is placed inside another. Type of ActiveX component available in Visual Basic: ActiveEXE, ActiveX EXE, ActiveX DLL, and ActiveX Document. ActiveX EXE implemented as out-of-process component. ActiveX DLL implemented as in-process component, and ActiveX Document can contain almost everything that a form can contain. ActiveX EXE. And ActiveX EXE provides the reusability of code by accessing it from different threads. An ActiveX is a component that can be called by another application by providing reference to the component. An ActiveX file is designed to work as an value attendant, which is more than a program designed to share information with another program. Best to the share information with another program. It has an .exe file extension. ActiveX DLL. An ActiveX DLL code is executed within the main program's address space. It behaves as if the class was created within the main program's code. Because the code lies inside the program's address space, calling methods is very fast. ActiveX DLL files are not meant to be used by themselves. Instead, these types of files containing subprograms designed to function as building blocks when creating a standalone program. It has a .dll file extension. ActiveX documents. An ActiveX document can contain almost everything that a form can contain. Standalone controls and ActiveX control. It can also be used to navigate to another document. An ActiveX document is a single Visual Basic document file. ActiveX document also contain either .exe or .dll file containing the code. If it is .dll, it becomes an in-process application. If it is .exe, it becomes an out-of-process attendant. This is the reference where I'm using and I'm collecting the information about these things. Thank you very much to all of you.